Welcome to the Gut Girl Podcast. Yeah, it's nice lighting here and like cozy vibes.
We need to
Yeah, look at ours.
make
It's all
ours better
very
lighting.
Oh no, yours is beautiful. The lovely like green backdrop, and I feel like I've been in your house from your Instagram stories.
Nice little fire.
Yeah.
Over here.
Yeah, we
You
definitely
feel cozy.
need to like work on our
Lighting.
look at that. Like,
The down lights, honey. Oh.
Oh,
hang on.
it's almost like you've got a full-time job running a business, and maybe podcasting is not something you've put all your energy into.
Oh,
Can we do this
chill.
next week and give us like a week to sort out the lighting?
That lift. You really did something there. Well, yeah. It's like your backlit now, whatever it's called. Looks great.
Anyway.
Thanks for joining the podcast. Hello.
Thanks,
Before I get carried away, because I will get carried away, I'm so eager to talk to you. I just want to introduce you formally to the listeners because I will forget and I'll just dive in and then they're not going to even know how special you both are. So for the listeners, let me just tell you guys who we've got. We've got Matilda Brown and Scott Gooding, and they are actually both many things in the individual right, but they're the founders of the Good Farm Shop. And if you haven't eaten from the Good Farm Shop, you should. You're missing out. It'll change your life, not just on a taste buds level, but physically and emotionally will change your life. So you'll obviously, there'll be lots of links to your Good Farm Shop in this description. But thanks for being here, both of you. I'm so grateful.
Oh,
Thanks
that's
for
very
inviting
nice.
us.
Yeah.
And for making the
having us.
time. Like, it's a lot of time out of your busy lives to be doing a podcast like this, I
Well,
imagine.
Very convenient being able to open your laptop and just jump on.
Yeah.
isn't it? It does take a lot of extra time away.
Okay,
So
good. So what does your day look like? Because I'm thinking about how it even looks a day in a life of you both. You both bring such interesting traits and skills to the business. I'm imagining it's kind of like organized chaos, but what is it like? Like, how was your morning?
Well, our private life is organized chaos, but
Okay, yeah.
I guess Phil and I have very distinct and defined roles within the business.
Right.
It wouldn't take too hard to know and acknowledge that Till does all the marketing side of things.
I
Is-
gathered that,
is the
absolutely.
creator and the
Mhm.
storyteller,
Mm.
and she does a miraculous job with that. And then I'm sort of at the cold face isn't the right term, but I'm in the kitchen cooking the meals with the team. So Till sort of often works remotely. There is an office at the kitchen, but she's often
here.
contending with the kids
Yeah.
in the morning,
Yeah.
dropping them off to school, getting their packed lunch ready and all that stuff. And then she'll knuckle down to do a day's work and then, often pick up the kids
Gee.
at
Yeah.
the end of the day. So Till's day looks very different to mine, I would say. Mine's, an early start in the kitchen. I don't see the kids until I return of the afternoon
Yeah.
with the team. So it's a lot more collaborative in that sense. Till sort of has to conjure up the ideas on her own, bless her.
Okay. Yeah. You're the creative
Yeah.
brains behind. Like when I'm seeing these awesome Instagram stories, it's like this is till here. Like this is, yeah.
I like
right?
going. The kitchen is like a fun place to be though, because it's
Okay.
where it's quite social when you go into the kitchen. There's a bunch of women in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's
And
vibey.
they all love a chat. And what's that?
Is it quite vibey in the kitchen?
Yeah, it's quite vibey. Like it's different. I mean, I do spend, probably most of my working days are at home, purely because of the kid juggle and stuff.
Yeah,
But it
of
also 40 minutes away. So if I don't have to go into the kitchen, I won't go into the kitchen. But I do like going in there because it is social. Scott often comes back. I feel like he's had a good dose of like people.
Yep.
And so he's like probably less wanting to just chat. I'm like, hey, honey.
It's like,
What have you
leave
been up
me.
to?
I'm
Boss.
Yep.
But I mean, I guess it's organized chaos, but it's pretty normal. You've got a couple of kids, it's lunch boxes and, shouting and
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
All the normal stuff. And then just trying to build a business, which amazingly we've been able to do
Yeah.
and feel very lucky about.
And only from 2021, is that right, when you started? Or when did you start Good Farm Shop, like the transition to the focus on the meals? Was it, because that feels like yesterday. That feels,
It was about that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we actually started it in, when do we pivot it? We have a bit of a different
Well, it's
sort
because
of,
I can't remember yesterday, let alone.
but I
Well,
think like the very first iteration of the Good Farm Shop was a cow share from our family
yes.
farm.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of just how the whole thing started, was that during COVID, we went to the farm and we got sort of locked out of the northern beaches where we live.
Oh,
And
right.
And so while we were on the farm, we were hearing Mum and Mick, the farmer, talk a lot about regenerative farming. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was the first time that we really started to understand about regenerative farming and, just, I guess, farming in general, like what is farming? How does it work?
Mm,
What types of farming are there? It was really the first time that I was kind of like, oh, wow, there's a significant difference between conventional farming, industrial farming, regenerative farming.
right.
And we went home quite inspired and passionate, and we wanted to be basically eating the beef from the farm,
Okay.
which is really hard to do. It's really
I bet.
hard to actually get a
Mm,
cow from a paddock and get that onto your plate. There's just so much logistics that go into that.
wow.
But
Okay.
that is what we ended up doing. We ended up sort of sending an email out to family and friends in our area, or sort of in the Sydney area, saying, this is what regenerative farming is. Would you like to go in on like a 5 kilo or 10 kilo beef box from the family farm?
Okay.
And we had enough people say yes that, we made that happen. And that was sort of like the very beginning stages of the Good Farm Shop. And it was really just solving a problem for ourselves,
Mm,
which is how a lot of businesses start.
yes.
And then sort of 6 months down the track, we had about 6 different regenerative farms that we were sourcing from. And we were doing chicken, beef, lamb, pork, um,
duck, quail.
duck, all the proteins. But the issue with that was that it was basically a sinking ship. Like, it's just very hard economically to make that work.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, on the scale that we were doing, I
Yeah,
think
on the scale that we were doing it, which was a
Okay.
very small scale.
Yes. Right.
And so then inevitably what ended up happening was that prime cuts fly out the door, like
Okay.
your eye fillets and your
Yeah.
scotchies and things like that. And then you're left with a lot of excess cuts, like your mince and your chuck, things like that. And that's how we started to make the meals. There was this moment
Wow,
where
that was the pivot there. Like you were like, what do we do with
that
this
was
stuff?
the introduction of meals to
Yep.
like the sort of business. It was like, okay, well, we've got all this meat. What are we going to do? And obviously Scott is an amazing cook.
Mm,
And I was like, I think we should bottle your cooking and
yeah.
start selling it, which is what we ended up doing at the markets. And then we started to have quite good feedback from the meals. And
I bet. Yeah.
inevitably, it turned into a ready meals company with the same philosophies. We got rid of the online butchery and we pivoted to being a ready meals company that is really about provenance of where those ingredients come from, sourcing from regenerative farms that use very little to no chemical inputs,
Mm,
high animal welfare, just super healthy meals that really focus on nutrition, and which is all sort of Scott's background.
right. Yes.
And that I think was about 4 years ago. Like, that pivot was about
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Something like that, 3.5.
Yeah.
It's amazing you've done all that in 4 years. Because if I just think about, like, I actually didn't even know a year ago what organic meant. I was like that naive. I had no idea what was going in to my body, what I was eating. And so think about like just what it's done to me, mentally within the last 12 months to even discover what that means. And then, maybe what regenerative farming means. Can't believe you've done that, built the business in 4 years. Pretty cool. So you must be pretty impressed with what you've put together. Yeah.
Well, I think by nature we're both very, we come from very different backgrounds. You know, Till was very much immersed for many years in directing, acting, writing. That was her
Yeah.
world. I come from a world of fitness and nutrition and health. But I guess the essence of us are by our own nature, we're very driven and
Okay.
ambitious, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't think either of us are slouches,
Yeah.
and we
Clearly not.
and
Yeah.
I think what what um what works in your favor, I think, and maybe there's other uh, opposing strategies around this, but Till and I are very, you know, along with being ambitious and driven, we're also very quick to pull the trigger on things, and it
Okay.
might not always be the best decision, but what it and later on you sort of edit as you going along over due course, but
Mhm.
it keeps the business and the evolution in perpetual motion.
Right.
So we
Yeah.
never really stall and ponder on things for too long. We're like, yep, let's do it, go.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
because of that, because that's within our nature too, like it it means that the momentum builds quite quickly. And I think that's possibly one of the reasons why we've got to where we are in such a short period of time.
Yeah, I
Mm.
think like I think a lot of people, um, well, you do hear that people kind of like they have this, like, I really want to do that, I really want to do that, but it just takes so long for them to,
Yeah.
and you hear that whole thing, it's like just start.
Yeah.
Like that's what you need to do is you just need to start.
Mm.
And then yeah, you work out stuff as you go along. Like you get feedback from people and you learn from your mistakes and you keep going. And
Mm.
I think without that starting, like just jumping in and doing it, yeah, you never learn, you never get the feedback, and
Yeah.
it just stalls. Um,
I mean, it's not to say it's the bulletproof best way to do things. I mean, we have, you know, you could argue that you waste time and money on things that don't
Oh, okay.
eventuate or the
Mm.
best way to do something, but at least you're, you know, the wheels are turning.
yeah,
And I wonder how much, because I just think about your journey, and I have read, I've been excited to purchase your new cookbook, and I was just reading a bit about you both in that as well, and your own personal histories, like the passion you've got, each individually for your own health and, food and what it means, environmentally, but in terms of, your own body and gut health and inflammation. And has all of that been, to what extent has that been like a driver for you through the rough kind of business period of, starting a business and it's working and then it's not working and then you want to pull your hair out and then it's successful, and the ebbs and flows and chaos of it all? Has that
yeah.
been a big part of it? Or I don't know what you found as like the driving forces that have got you through to this point.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think at that junction where we were like, we could turn this business from what it is into a ready meals business.
Mm.
I remember having conversations with Till. Was like, I'm not sure the world needs another ready meals business. Like they're kind of
Oh,
dime a dozen,
right.
but perhaps there's one that, um, you know, hinges on some pretty solid pillars, and those pillars are that it's anti-inflammatory, it's from the
Mm.
highest provenance, it's, you know, animal. All these things are
Mm.
considered, as well as all the health aspects. And so I guess because that had been my world for so long, and I'd written books about it, I've
Yes.
been on TV talking about this thing, it's sort of like almost to the point of ad nauseum. Like at that point, I'm not about
Yeah.
to compromise on that. That's like,
Mm.
you know, in many ways my life's work. And so
Yeah.
if then we were going to put out meals that were under that bar, you know, I wouldn't have done it. And I
Mm.
feel Phil's right there
Yeah.
alongside me in that regard.
Yeah, I think there was definitely there was a point also where, um, if we couldn't find
Mm.
packaging that was going to work,
Yes.
to the
Okay.
same, I guess the same standard as what the meals were,
Mm.
because I think the idea, like when you walk into a supermarket and you just see the single serve food in like
Yeah.
plastic container after plastic container, I was just like, I just don't want to contribute to that. So we just went on this search to find, like we were just like, okay, if we can't find packaging that's like compostable or I don't know, like it's food, right? So it has to work for food.
Nightmare,
So plastic
actually, to
is
figure
the
that out.
obvious choice. But yeah, we ended up finding these amazing compostable containers, and we were like, okay, I guess we can go full steam ahead here.
Yeah.
But it's also like, I think to your point of like, you know, how do you make the business, how do you keep going during like the hard times, like the trudging through, those struggles, I guess, of like building a business. I think that is where I think it would be a lot harder to keep going if you didn't have this like why. People talk about the why in business. I feel like that has been like a saving grace for us along this journey. It's like every time we go and visit a supplier of ours, like, and visit their farm and talk to the farmer about what he's been doing on his farm, and you're like super inspired after those.
Yes.
And as those relationships develop, we always return to this like, oh yeah, I remember. And it's, of course, you talk about it, and it is the life that we live. But it's also like underneath all the other stuff that happens in a business, just all the other things that you have to contend with. If you don't have that thing that is driving you forward, I think you could quit pretty easily.
Yeah.
But just offers the business and us as owners like firm parameters so in many ways it makes a lot of decisions easier. So if those parameters weren't as fixed, or they were broader, let's say, like there'd be a lot more free falling. But because we're guided by these parameters, it keeps us in a lane. So a lot of the decisions are quite binary, or the answers are quite binary. It's either it's a yes or it's a no, and it's the yes or the no is based purely on our ethics. And so there's not much fuzzy or grey or shouldn't we? Well, we could, but it's like it's either in or out. So it kind of helps you in many ways, the why.
Yeah, it sounds like it really, focuses the mind to sort of what is it relevant or not to our mission and.
Yeah, that's right. It's not a ball and chain. It's a it's something that keeps you true to your mission and makes many decisions easier.
Yeah.
And even like the what was that?
Yeah, I second that. Yeah, what he said.
Even the events which I would have died to go to. I will be going to any future events you have. I'll get myself up to Sydney, but just growing like beyond your business. You're trying to. It feels like a movement. Like I'm just kind of tapping into it recently because, like I said, I've been terribly uneducated, living under a rock for most of my life, not knowing about the.
I don't think you're alone in that. I think that's a very normal. It wasn't. It was only until he was ahead of me because he's written books about it. But I certainly didn't understand. I didn't really understand what organic was. I mean, there were the people that ate organic when you were at school. Like that. Oh yeah, that girl they cook organic at their house.
Yeah.
But yeah, I certainly was living under a rock until I wasn't.
Yes.
And then I was like, wow, this is so interesting. Like we all eat food, but we don't really know where it comes from or how it's grown, and we don't really care. And it's really easy to just like, put a blinker on and walk down the supermarket and be like, but I think like once you start to learn about it and understand the different ways that where we are in farming now, it's quite an eye opener. It's quite like, oh my God, we've got there now. Like some, talk about farms, but some farms, I mean, they're more like factories now with animals. It's I wouldn't even call some farms. You sort of look at a pig farm now, like a commercial pig farm, and you go, this is a factory.
Okay.
There's no
Yeah.
grass in sight.
Mm.
There are pigs squished into tiny little pens. They
Oh,
look
awful.
very
Yeah.
uncomfortable, and it doesn't. Yeah, I think we've lost the term farm. Is sort of like it should really be replaced now with sort of, this is a factory farmed animal, this is a farmed animal.
Yes.
Yeah,
But we haven't got to that point yet.
Mm.
there should be more visibility on the type of, you know, the product from the, you know, like, yeah, like just, and I feel like the UK does this better than we do, and perhaps
Oh, okay.
we're heading in that direction. But
Mm.
yeah, I guess there's different versions of farming, whether it's land or on the water. Like there's just different stewardship, you know, like it's people conduct it in a way that's either regenerative or, you know, the opposite to that. And there's some pretty, you know, you could go to any feedlot, cattle feedlot, and for most people, I would say um, it's quite removed from the vision that they have as a cattle on land, on a farm.
Right.
Obviously, not all cattle ends up in a feedlot, but many do. And so that last period of their life before slaughter is, they're not living their best days. You know, let's be honest. They're being fattened on a composite of grains, which,
Right.
you know, if
Yeah.
if that was a human experience, we'd be making someone ill.
Yeah.
You know, forcing them to eat a certain diet to put on weight. Like it's a very odd system when you sort of zoom out a little bit and you take an objective approach. But how we've got there is, you know, pretty well understood, I think. And I don't want to go down the route of like conspiracy theories or anything like that, because I don't subscribe to that. But I just feel like we've gotten to the point now with our farming that it is very highly industrialized.
Yeah.
Like some versions, I should say, it's very highly industrialized. The animal, the crop is very highly commoditized, and once it's highly commoditized, you inevitably lose the value of the spirit of that animal. And so
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
health all the time as
and the
well.
health,
Yeah.
yeah. So we work, you know, a classic example of how we're trying to address all that is that our beef supplier is a gentleman, is a company called Provenir,
Okay.
managed by Chris, and his outfit is down in Victoria. We went and visited his family and his farm last weekend.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I guess working with Chris was kind of pivotal to the inception of the Good Farm Shop as a ready meals company, because Chris has a business that is the only one in Australia that drives onto farms. So he takes a big semi-trailer, he drives onto property, he then
It's a mobile abattoir.
mobile abattoir. So
Oh,
he
right. Yeah.
processes on farm. So the animal doesn't have the stress of, you know, alien
Wow.
conditions.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
Not only is it grass fed finished,
Mm-hmm.
so that's a big tick. It means that it's avoided a feedlot, but it's also
Right.
been processed. You know, it hasn't been on a truck for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. It hasn't been in a holding pen for just you know, a couple of days or whatever. Like, so it's just minimizing the stress that the animal has had at the end of its life. So, you know, working with Chris is just another, I don't know, it's just a great way to promote regenerative agriculture. You know, it's just a version of it.
It's terribly selfish, but I think the initial movement in my mind to sort of, you know, the grass fed and the grass finished was I started to think about you know, I had all these health issues myself. So I was like, okay, how do I like help? How do I get food to help me with my health? I'm like, oh, what they're eating, I guess that I'm eating that too. Oh, hold on. Okay, so I'll figure out what they're eating and I'll try and make sure I'm eating animals that have eaten things that are
Yeah.
okay for me to eat. But I've not until very recently started to think, well, why don't we make effort to make the animal's life nicer? Like if we're going to eat them, why don't we have them, supported to be minimally anxious and stressed in the lead up to the, I think that's a beautiful thing that they
Yeah,
do, to go on site and to reduce the whole stress of it all. And
I think in a bid to maximize yields and efficiencies and lower labor costs and all the things that go into animal production, yeah, we've just highly commoditized animals. Uh, so we work with Chris with our beef. We work with a
okay.
gentleman called Luke for our proteins and our pork and other proteins. And we've been to his farm a number of times, and it's like the pigs on his property are just living their best life. Like they're in, they're foraging in woods, and they're having a good time. They're living as a pig should probably live. But
Yeah, well, they're living as a pig should live.
yeah,
Right.
Which is like
Crazy
you kinda go,
concept.
"Oh,
Yeah.
that's good." It's like, well, that's
Yeah.
kind of how pigs should live. Like they
Yeah.
shouldn't really be in pens
stalls
with,
and
getting so fat that they squish the babies and, all that stuff that, people don't see because
Yeah.
how are they going to see it? There's all these places you can't go in. You can't be like, oh, hey, I was just in the neighborhood. Can I come and see your pig farm?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they're like, no, we don't want to see
You wouldn't
it.
buy it again if you thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's there are farms out there that are you can jump on their website, you can
farm visits.
you can go, you can see how they do it. There's plenty of little farms out there that we can support, as a consumer. And now with social media and being able to open an online shop like that, people are getting pretty savvy, which is great. And people can have, meat boxes delivered to their doorstep within, a couple of days of ordering it from a regenerative farm or an organic farm. There are ways of, avoiding the supermarket food, which you can't trace that. You have no idea where it might have come from regenerative farm, but it's lost. The traceability of that is lost along the way. There's no way of sort of picking up a steak in a supermarket and going, okay, where is this steak from? How has it been farmed? What kind of farming am I supporting? Who's the farmer? But it only takes a little bit of, getting on and being curious to find, to connect with a farmer.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting times for the consumer. Like the barrier to ordering, consuming paddock to plate style food is very low at the moment. Like, I mean, when we first started the Good Farm and we were pulling off our own farm,
Yes.
Til mentioned right at the start, we started very quickly to introduce other proteins. So by virtue of that, we were reaching out, often just Google searching or Instagram, finding the farm, understanding what they produce, and then making a relationship. And many of these guys were like pretty young couples that have just had a complete sea change, got to get out of the city, YouTube the shit out of how to start a farm, how to build a fence, how to
See.
like very inspiring, ballsy stuff. But the exciting and inspiring thing about all that is that there was this movement of young people that wanted to do that.
Yeah.
But also because they're young, they're very tech savvy and were able to, go onto Shopify, build a website, strike up an e-commerce situation. So that's my point, that the barrier to receiving paddock to plate is very low at the moment. You could Google search, paddock to plate or farm to table.
Okay.
And as Til mentioned, there'd be so many vendors that are offering that service, and you can have it within 2 or 3 days, like 5 kilos, 10 kilos, half a cow, like whatever your demands are, like they can be met. And so there is a opportunity right now to, like, we're not in the business of demonizing supermarkets, but I guess we're in the business of promoting a different version of agriculture and food production. And it's very exciting to see that portion of the pie is growing. And it's, I mean, we did an event probably a month ago now, 3 weeks ago maybe. And part of that was providing a yummy, delicious lunch for everyone and some nice wines, but we had a panel and we opened the panel up to Q&A, and we sat there for an hour and a half doing Q&A. And to your point earlier about it being a movement, there was 130 people in the room.
Wow.
That
Yeah.
made you feel like it was good for Till and I to get this sort of
Yes.
sounding board of, oh shit, like
Yeah.
all these people are here because they're invested in some way, whether they're, years down the track or, 2 weeks down the track, but they're invested in hearing and understanding and furthering their understanding of this movement, this regenerative movement. So that was pretty cool. Like I feel like it is a growing area in Australia.
Yeah, it feels really special to be connected to your farmer. I'm only new to it, but I've found it quite exciting because I'll go to Woolworths or Coles and they'll be like maybe half a meter or a meter section of the supermarket that's got like organic or something, and
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it might not even have like half the proteins I'm looking for. So it's on a practical level, it's better to go online anyway. But it's really lovely to know your farmer. It's a nice thing to kind of just feel. I don't know. There's like something emotional about it to feel.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a farm that we followed for a while called Ethical Farmers
Okay. Yeah.
by Dom, and I think his wife is Sarah. Do you remember his wife's name?
No.
Anyway, Ethical Farmers. And what they've done now is I just saw that they've changed their whole way of doing direct to consumer.
Okay.
They used to do boxes, sort of like, you go on and buy a meat box and stuff. But they've said, like, we can't make that work anymore because you just don't know, month to month how many orders you're going to get.
Yeah.
And so what they've done is they're asking people to sign up for a year, commit to the farm for a year.
Fantastic!
Yeah,
Wow.
I think it's actually really amazing and it's such a great way of,
like a subscription.
Yeah, like you sign up, but you commit. You make a commitment. I'm going to commit to this farm. I'm going to buy my meat from them for a year. So every month I'm going to get my meat delivered.
Oh wow. Yep.
And you can go and visit the farm. You can follow them on Instagram. They're on there talking
I'm
about
going to check it out. I'm going to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like, I was like, oh, that's such a good idea. It really helps them out. Obviously, they go, okay, well, we know this many people. So now we can know how many cows, how many cattle we've got to, have on our property. I just think it's a really cool way of doing it. And I think there's probably other farms that are already doing that. But I think many more will start to do a similar thing, just, getting the consumer to like come on board and support the farm, get to know your farmer.
Yeah.
Instagram offers that visibility. Often these farmers, these young girls and guys are, they're carrying an iPhone around with them and they're on the tractor and they're herding the cattle. You know what I mean? Like so it just offers that. Not only do you know the name of the farm and the farmer, but you see his or her, day-to-day conducting of the farm, like how it's all together, and it offers a visibility that, there's no way that you could do that with the products that are in Coles or Woolies or, A, you don't know what the farm is, and B, at best they'll have a website, but aside from that, there's no, so it just adds to that kind of connection between farm to the consumer.
And I feel like I've had that experience with the Good Farm shop in the sense that, I discovered you about a year ago, and at that point I'm still figuring out, like, what does organic mean? What's a grass fed? Yeah. I was like, oh, it looks tasty. That's probably what got me, to be honest. It looked tasty and I didn't know about the rest. And then it started ordering them, and I found really interesting. And at the same time, alongside eating your delicious meals, I was doing a lot of work on my gut health, right? I'm discovering all these things to fix some chronic issues. But so what your meals were so fantastic for me at that time, because I'm being told by my health professionals, you need to eat better, and everything about your meals ticked every box of what I was being told to do for my health. So I'm eating your meals, and I notice I'm not as hungry as I'm used to feeling. Like, I'm like, hold on, I normally snack all day. I'm normally hungry or starving by dinner. And it was really fascinating for me, just like on a personal level, to notice I felt like nourished for like probably maybe the first time in my life. Felt like I got from one meal to the next, and I may or may not snack, whatever, but there was something about the balance and clearly the thought and skill that goes into the creation of your food that actually did something physiological to my experience of, just hunger and energy. I assume that you know about that. That's how you've built it that way. But
we don't really like. I mean, it's nice to hear all that because we don't often speak in those terms. I mean, our meals are all, well, I won't say all, but many of them are like a high protein meal base. You know what I mean? So
right.
we never promote that. That's not something that we, other brands do because they're all about performance or weight loss or weight
Right.
management. They're low carb, high protein, all that stuff. We don't speak in those terms, but that's also not to say that our meals aren't highly satiating and plenty of whole foods, and so they.
Well, I actually had a very similar reaction to what you've had when I first met Scott, because
Yep.
I was vegan for years and vegetarian for years, and then I met Scott, and he's not.
Yeah. Yep.
The reason I was vegetarian and vegan was I'd basically had this weekend where I just binged watched a lot of the documentaries on farming. Right? So
that'll do
oh
it.
my God,
Yeah.
I believe that is like what happens to the food that we eat in animals. I was like, that's it, I'm going vegan.
Yep.
And had literally been vegan vegetarian for like the best of 10 years and got myself into a pretty, I would say I was a lazy vegan. And I didn't understand about nutrition. So I wasn't eating for nutrition. I was basically like, I was sort of had an eating disorder. I was an actor. So I was consumed
Brutal.
with this
Yeah.
all about my body type of thing. I was running all the time on a very low calorie diet.
Exhausting.
And then it was exhausting. And then I just had all this information in my head about all the other diets that I'd been on. So like all this sort of like no carbs after 5, like don't eat this. This is the, just information just swimming around in my head that made no sense at all.
Which is the landscape, I suppose, of the diet industry in a lot of ways too.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, so really had no idea what I should be eating for nutrition. Anyway, then I meet Scott, and he just, what he just sort of says is a very unpushy person. It's not like he was like, "Why are you vegetarian?"
Okay.
He was just like, "Why are you vegetarian?"
Curious. Yeah.
And
it's the same intent, different delivery.
But it didn't come across like that.
Yeah.
And I explained it, and he was like, "Well, you can buy meat from ethical butchers. Like there are butchers out there that do know, where their meat has been farmed. And I shop from a guy that we could get like a nice lamb if you're interested."
That was Dawn.
That was Dawn.
Oh, okay.
It was Sam, the butcher.
Oh yeah, could have been.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so he made me slow cooked lamb. And I was like, I love meat. I actually don't have a problem with the animal dying for me to eat it. Like,
right. Yeah.
that's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Yes.
I have a problem with how they've lived. Like and so when he sort of, it was just this sort of moment where I was like, I would love to be eating meat again if it's ethical, if there's really is a way where had obviously gone very far down that rabbit hole and was convinced that that was the only way that meat was now produced. Of course, it wasn't, and there's lots of little farms that are not doing that type of farming. Anyway, he made this slow cooked lamb that was just like simmering away in the oven for 6 hours or something. Just the smell, and then like lifts the lid off. This like,
oh dear, you're in trouble. Yeah. Yep.
I took one bite and I was like, well, I'm definitely not going back to vegetarian vegan life after this because it was so freaking good. But after a while, fantastic. I felt my body like return to life. I felt like it was like WD-40 for my like bones and brain. Like I felt I had really been like depriving my brain of proper nutrition. And And I felt like my hunger, I was so hungry all the time when I was,
Yeah.
eating the way that I was eating. I was never satiated. I never had a bowl of food and was just like, oh, I feel so good and full. And half an hour later, I'd be like, what can I eat? Yeah, there's just a lot of air in vegetarian food that, like,
Right.
I just felt like I never was very good at that, like never very good at nourishing my body until Scott came along and cooked the way that he cooked, which is the way that the Good Farm Shop, that is the Good Farm Shop. It is Scott's hearty, comforting, nourishing, slow cooked food that it's that simple. Like it's actually not a whole sort of scientific kind of, okay, well, if we put that much of that in there, it's just good food. It's just hearty, good, nourishing protein that keeps you full, I would say, for longer than a lot of other foods that we consume.
I mean, even the idea that it is real food. I mean, I didn't even know what that meant till recently, but I mean, it is, you've sourced like food that's like, it's not, fake, and it's not filled with, I don't know, all the different terrible things that can be in food that's not real.
Like a long list of ingredients, like that long. Where you're like, what is all this stuff? I can't even pronounce that word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's been the emergence in the last 5 years or perhaps more of like the art, hyper artificial foods, like the Impossible Burger and those brands that actually don't have Impossible Burgers around anymore, but it's driven by the vegan food movement. But when if you take 2 seconds to look at the ingredients list, you're like, that can't be healthy for me. So engineered, it's so highly tech specky, you know what I mean? Like it's made in a lab, not in a paddock or a plucked bush or a tree, or you know what I mean? It's quite bizarre, but I guess that's
vegan convenience food. Well, obviously, for any vegans out there, like absolutely nothing against them, you can have a very wholesome, nutrient dense vegan lifestyle. I'm sure that that is a way of eating. It wasn't my experience of it because I wasn't aware of nutrition. Obviously before it came into my life. But I think that the problem with the supermarket vegan food is that it often is a long list of ingredients, but it's labeled as, it's like this sort of idea that vegan is the healthier alternative. Like it's the healthier version, when it's just not. I feel like that's one of the marketing things that I think a part of what's making, some people quite sick is that's not food.
Yeah, it's a sleight of hand.
You actually shared, Till, on your Instagram, I think at some point, the ultra processed people book, and that was why I then read it, because you shared it, and I was like, oh, Good Farm Shop, like something, I'll read it. That must be good. So I read it, and I watched the doco and stuff, and it was after that was a big shift for me. I'm very grateful for you sharing that. It opened my eyes just to what I didn't even know what UPF or ultra processed food even meant until then. And then you go into the supermarket and you suddenly realize, I was suddenly like, oh, hold on. So most of the stuff in that aisle, that's going to hurt my stomach lining. Oh, okay. Most of the stuff over there's got pesticides on it. Right. Okay. I'll go to that tiny corner over there that says organic, and then it's overwhelming, You need support systems and a community, I think, to really wrap your head around what real food is. And that's why I so appreciate so much of the work that you do, because it feels like less isolating, I guess, when you begin to realize these things about the food system. Oh, there are people fighting for another way and working very hard to.
I think we just, as Till mentioned right at the top of the podcast, that we were solving a problem for ourselves. And I hope now, a few years down the track, that we've created a business that provides ready meals that go across Australia, that we're providing a solution for the people that don't necessarily have the time or the inclination to put in the hard yards about where do I source this from, or how do I get to know my farmer? Like, here's a quick, easy version of that. We'll
Yeah.
tiny hub all
Yeah.
that for you. There you go. There's a a beef ragu delivered to your door without you having to do all that stuff.
Like 10 hours in it, let alone the sourcing of the
Yeah.
ingredients. I want to keep talking, but I don't actually have a clock. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to find out the time. I've got like a fancy
It
producer
says
person.
top of that, it says 45 minutes. It's 2:19.
Oh, 2:19. Great. So we've still got time. You guys are okay to keep going until like 3, is it? Or when do you have to bugger off? Is it 3?
Probably just before that.
Just
Yeah,
before
we've got
quarter 2 or something,
Yeah,
or half
quarter
past?
2 would be good. Yeah.
Quarter 2, no worries. I mean, because I wanted to ask then in the context of what goes into your food. I know on your website it's like biodynamic, regenerative farming, organic. What, for the people listening who are as naive as I was a few months ago, what does that mean? Like when they're like, or no seed oils, like what even kind of other principles, I suppose, that go into making the meals, which then, as I've noticed, keep you fuller for longer and you feel great eating. But
Eat
what?
one meal of ours, you'll never have to eat again in your life.
Keep it all for a week.
Yeah.
Well, I guess when it comes to procurement, i.e. sourcing of the raw material, because we've got that narrow lane with the firm parameters, we're attempting, and we do it week on week, that we draw down on the highest ethical, highest animal welfare supplier that we know, and we've built those relationships over the course of our lifetime as a business. And then
I think she's just asking more about like what the terms mean. Is that what you?
Sorry.
Oh,
is
that's
that what
okay.
you-
I mean, well, that too. Just thinking about like, I mean, when you see, for example, like seed oil free or I actually don't even know what biodynamic means. So I've got a question mark on that too. But even when you say like no seed oils, most people that I know wouldn't even know that that's bad. Like what even a seed oil, like why you wouldn't put that in, or what are the sort of things, I guess, when you go to cook your meals, you're like, no, none of that crap over there. Oh yeah, this stuff here, or the principles from the
I
most
guess
important
seed
for you.
oils are so what's the word? Sort of omnipresent, in the ultra processed world of food.
Right.
Is because they're easily sourced and they're relatively cheap.
I see.
and highly processed.
And they're highly
Right.
processed. So I guess on a physiological level, they drive inflammation when you get an imbalance of omega-6 over omega-3s.
Okay.
So we don't use any seed oils. We use olive oil and coconut oil. So obviously there's a level of processing to get oil out of an olive. So it's not like they're not processed. That's a bit of a misnomer too. Like the coconut oil, there's a process. So it's not really the process is the sinister kind of thing in the whole side of things. It's more what constitutes that oil. What is the lipid profile?
Okay.
And so we use
wouldn't know what that means, but like, I mean, it sounds like there's quite a difference between processed and very, very processed. Like you have a mindful awareness of how much processing goes into any ingredient that you use. Am I understanding that right? Is that
From a layman's perspective?
Yep.
Who's a nutritionist who hasn't studied nutrition?
Yeah.
The way that I see it is that there are high quality oils, and then there are lower quality oils. And like the high quality oils are like your organic oil, your coconut oils, your olive oils, high oleiac, what's that word? Sunflower oil, butter, ghee,
right,
lard, like, and then tallow, and then there are a bunch of oils that are lesser quality, that are cheaper, less good for you.
I mean, you're not going to keel over if you have something with some, like poor quality sunflower or safflower oil or grapeseed, whatever. But I guess if you consume enough of those things, it does sort of, if you think about the good and the bad that are going into your body. You want to keep more of the good than the bad. You know what I mean? So if there's a consistent consumption of those types of oils, you maybe want to have a look at that and maybe substitute one or two in your pantry.
Right.
So as a general rule, there's no seed oils in our kitchen. We,
Oh, okay.
as
Yeah. Yep.
as I mentioned, we only cook with coconut, olive oil, butter, um, and then we're starting to use tallow, which is the fat rendered from beef. In a skincare, we're gonna, dip our toes or our faces, I should say, in
Oh, that's
this
exciting.
skincare
Yeah.
range, which is, the base product or the base raw material
Yeah.
is tallow.
Mm-hmm.
So, because, further to that, I guess there's a bigger discussion about pulling beef off property and minimizing, utilizing as much of that as we possibly can. So we're cooking
Oh,
the
I
chuck
see.
and the shin, and we're
Right.
cooking the brisket and the mince and the sausages, but there's also other aspects of that body that potentially could go to waste. So, we're working with Chris very closely to go, okay, what else can we take from you from that one body and repurpose and offer as a highly ethical product. So,
Awesome.
skincare is the next
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
We're dipping our toes in rugs as well, made from.
But that
Oh, yeah.
not at this
It's top
point.
secret, is it?
It's going way too far ahead.
What are the kind of things that you both think about in your own, with all the background that you have and this journey of learning how to look after yourself and the medicinal powers of food, the healing powers of food? What do you tend to have as the top considerations when you think about keeping inflammation at bay, just for yourself? I'm just thinking about myself, my journey with my gut stuff. I've been like, that's been in my mind, like, okay, how can I keep the inflammation down as much as I can? And you both are clearly much more informed on all this than I am, and I'm just curious the kinds of
I
stuff.
just followed Scott.
Yeah.
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 I would honestly, I'd be way worse off if I didn't have Scott as a husband.
Right.
No,
Yes.
I really would. Like I can be like pretty lazy at certain chapters of my life, but because this guy hits the gym every day, I'm like, okay, I'm cow.
You're in there before me
I don't
these
want it,
days.
but I'll do it.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Helpful to have that.
And because he just cooks delicious, healthy food all the time, I don't have to. And then I have to think about it, or I just eat our meals. I've become very lazy since the Good Farm Shop and since marriage. To say. But go on, honey. What are your tips for your healthy lifestyle?
Well, I want to say from the get-go, like, don't strive for a life with no inflammation. That's probably not the best.
Interesting. Yeah.
So I need some inflammation. It ignites our immune system, and so it keeps our immune system, fired up, ready to fight what it needs to fight. So I guess there's some comfort in that, but I guess it's a balance, right? So you don't want too much. You don't want to over activate your immune system that, means that it's putting out fires all the time and not tending to legitimate health concerns that you may have lingering. But it's also like don't major in the, what's the thing? Major in the majors. There's the majors and the minors. So the minors are the lots of little things that all the, that propagate on the internet and social media and influencers.
The biohacking.
The biohacking,
yes.
Yeah, all the little tiny things that you can do.
Yeah.
And
It's true. A lot of those.
They all have some benefit, but I think for anyone sort of going on their health journey, you're better off just focusing on maybe 3 things, and that might be the food that you eat, how you exercise, how often, and your sleep. And if you do those 3 things pretty well, you're going to be well on your way. And then once you've mastered that to some degree with some consistency and discipline, then sure, like dabble in some the biohacking side of things, but don't start there.
Yes, that's a helpful point, actually, isn't it? Because you could get
Like,
so overwhelmed quickly.
totally. There's
You
so
tried.
like if you just wanted to start your health journey tomorrow, or you just got a health scare, whatever the impetus may be, and you Google how to get healthy, there would be so much information to absorb just from one Google search
Mm.
that you'd be like, fuck, where do I start?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many
Yeah.
different books and philosophies that you know may have some merit, but then some conflict, and it's very confusing.
Mm.
So I would say a really good place to start would be in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Learn how to cook for yourself. Once you start cooking for yourself, you're the custodian of everything that passes your lips.
Yes.
You control what oils you're
Mm.
using, where the meat comes from. When you go to a restaurant or a cafe, you surrender,
Or takeaway.
or a takeaway, you
Yeah.
surrender a lot of that to the chef or the business or the brand, whatever philosophy they stand by.
Mm-hmm.
So at least, so I always used, because I used to work with clients a lot
Yes.
around this stuff, and I'd often say, how much do you cook for yourself? Oh, probably 10% of everything that I consume in a week. Okay, that's a great
Yeah.
place to start. Let's
Mm.
work towards that being 20 over the next 3 months, and then
Mm.
you can't do 100%. You can't go from 0 to 100 in no time. You need to
Yeah.
build habits, and it's not always perfect from the get-go, so you just need to like incrementally improve and um, get to a point where you've gone from 10% of everything that you consume is made in your own kitchen to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 80, and then you tap out at 80, and everything else is a takeaway or a restaurant meal, and that's cool. Like you've just gained so much ownership on what passes your lips and
Mm.
control. And then, simultaneously look at your sleep. Like, how much sleep are you getting? Is that optimal for you? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? How
Yes.
can you improve your sleep hygiene? Are you waking up many times over night time? And then, how often do you exercise? Are you, is it enough? Are you, like the modality, the frequency, the intensity, all that stuff matters.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you get this matrix of nutrition, movement, and sleep, and you're off to the races. And there's always, even when you feel like I've been doing this stuff for like all my life. I've looked
Yeah.
at the food that
Yep.
I've eaten, and I've exercised in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm now 50, and I'm still going. What's around the corner? What else can I do? How else can I train? Like, it's a life
It's really
journey.
annoying. It's really
Can we wrap it up? Have we learned enough now? No, he's always.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
no, he's a good motivator.
You're very complimentary in what you bring to, your well, I don't know about your marriage, but in your business, you certainly bring like these, beautiful backgrounds and knowledge. You're amazing. I mean, I read your book, Scott. I've got this one, The Sustainable Diet, and I do love how it's a very gentle. A lot of, like you say, a lot of health stuff's very overwhelming and anxiety inducing. Sometimes I can't even listen to some podcasts on it. It just makes me stressed. So
Yeah.
I loved that aspect of your book. It's very, like you just spoke now, very like, don't try and do it all at once, gradually make changes here and there and keep your eyes open here and not feeling like you know it all either, even yourself. Like I think you make that point in the book, like there's always more to learn. The landscape's always changing. Being open-minded. Yeah.
Particularly with nutrition, there's some like pretty well-established science as to what constitutes a good diet.
Mm-hmm.
But the perfect diet is the one that works best for you, which is, my physiology is somewhat different to yours.
Right.
But also my accessibility to food, my budget, my ability to cook,
Yeah. Yeah.
time, all that stuff
Mm-hmm.
makes it very unique in what constitutes the perfect diet for you. So it's not, which goes to my point about it being this constant personalized evolution. Like
Mm.
50 and looking at this quite intensely for a long time, I still feel like there's room to get better
Yeah.
with my food and my movement. My sleep is pretty good.
I don't know how you could improve.
Well, I want to be huge, not huge.
It's a at this point, it's a vanity thing. He just
Okay.
Well, there's a little bit of that, but
Yeah.
I'm also,
No.
I'm of an age that I know how important it is to move my body in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
But, I've got 3 kids, 2 are pretty young, and I still want to kick a ball with them. And, my wife's 10 years younger than me, so I want to, what I see this meme on Instagram a lot when you
Yeah.
have guys in gyms kind of like unmotivated, and they're like, "Oh yeah, my wife's a 10, isn't she?"
That's right. That's
That's
right.
how
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, he's younger than me.
No, I don't. What are you talking about?
No, we did this health thing recently, and we got our all our bloods done,
oh, okay.
bones looked at, got
Oh, very cool. I've seen these online.
did the VO2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so did that whole thing, and he comes out we both came out the same age.
Ah.
No, I was
Yeah.
10 years younger as well, but I think you were 12 years younger or something like that.
Right.
You were a couple. It basically our age gap was it went like that when we actually.
Yeah. Well, good farm shop. You'll age backwards.
Anyway.
Is that the idea? It's,
Anyway,
yeah.
Another-
Oh, what was that?
What's
Sorry.
that?
I think I couldn't hear them. What was that, Till?
Oh, I think it's trying to reconnect. I think it's. Can you hear me?
Oh, now I can. There we go. We're back.
I think it's trying to reconnect.
Okay. Well, I think I can hear you now.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just saying that another thing that we both love, but that Scott's very big on, is sauna.
Oh,
But I
yes.
feel like sauna is, there's again great science. There's great science to back up the benefits of it, and multiple saunas a week. But I also feel like that's one of the minors.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
not everyone has a sauna.
Yeah.
It was just, or has access to a sauna. So I wouldn't, that wouldn't be my first cab off the rank to say to someone, "Oh, you've got a sauna 4 times a week." It'd be like,
Okay.
how many fruits and vegetables you eat? Meat, da 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 da.
In a way, I think about it, and it's actually something I'm going to take away from today, is that I have a freezer full of your food, which is fantastic, and I would like that to be the case at all times. But I would really like to also take more ownership of the way you put it, sort of, knowing and understanding more the food that passes your lips. And I really am quite excited. I've got your cookbook. And I'm like, well, I'm like, well, I love your food. So I'm like, well, hold on. Why don't I use your cookbook to start building my own, knowledge and skills in the kitchen?
Though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the combination I think is very good. The meals and the cookbook.
Yep. It's great. I'm your number
Yeah.
one fan, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
No, there's definitely the cookbook is definitely more Scott than me. I mean, my name is on the book as well, but I'm
Yeah.
certainly not the majority of the recipes is Scott's.
you've got a few in
Scott's
there.
good,
Yeah.
simple, hearty cooking. Yeah.
Yeah, well, your story's in there. It's all.
It's a really actually a very it's a cookbook you can connect with more than a normal cookbook because of the stories and the visual
nice.
element and no, it's quite uniquely interesting to read. So you'll hear from me on that as I get to cooking more. I'm pathetic at making time to cook and I'm not good at it, so I need to jump those hurdles, and this is going to be it's going to hold my hand through that. So
good.
I would love to talk to you for hours, but I know we've got to finish together. But I just want to say I'm very, very grateful for you making the time to speak with me, particularly because obviously this podcast is a tiny podcast at the moment and you guys are seriously a big deal on the
What do you
internet.
mean? I thought this was going out to millions of people.
One day, well, who knows? We may go viral tomorrow. So,
No.
um,
Oh, it's a pleasure.
yeah.
You're very lovely, Georgia. So it was lovely to be on your podcast.
And
Thanks for supporting our little business.
Oh, yeah.
You've given us some like inspiration for mood lighting, so that's
Credit to the fancy studio. Yeah, I do not own. I rent this by the hour. It's not my.
That's cool studio.
But
Thanks for your lovely questions and for being interested. And
no, I think I think lots of people are interested, and I'm quite excited to share this conversation just because I want to, be a part of sharing the movement that you two are leading in such a big way. Thanks for all that you do. That's a wrap for today's episode of the Gut Girl podcast. Thanks for listening. See you next time as we learn more real-world strategies for gut health, one bite at a time. Everything you've heard today is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical or psychological care. While I am a registered psychologist, this podcast is not providing psychological services. Always seek medical advice from your qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your diet, medications, or treatment plan. I do not necessarily endorse all the views and statements of podcast guests, and myself and the guests are not aware of your individual circumstances. Any advice given is general in nature.